Right.
Let's get this thing started.
Let's get this thing started. We've faffed around for about 5 minutes with the camera rolling and said nothing. So let's get this started. We did a burnout. Kind of.
Shake.
Right. Rap video.
Rap.
We're going to rap. No,
we're not going to rap.
No. This is
the W
rap. The vinyl rap.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, it's quite a popular thing, but not that many people actually have them done, do they? Like, you see loads on Instagram, on YouTube and stuff of people with wrapped cars, but before I got this done, I'd never actually been up close or known anyone that had actually had one done. So we just wanted to kind of chat about the realities of having a car that's vinyl wrapped, like if you need to do anything differently, if it's as good as paint, if it's better or worse than you expected, if it's good value for money, blah blah blah.
Yeah, like if you're considering it, hopefully we'll shed a bit of light either side and maybe inform your decision either way.
Exactly. So where should we start?
So it's
shall we start?
What was it, about 8 months, I think? Like February, March time?
I think it's February I got it done, yeah, so about 8 months, something like that.
Cool.
And yeah, it has been redone because of the crash, but we'll kind of ignore that bit for now.
With that door.
Yeah. And the spoiler is getting redone as well, because there's some bits peeling off on there.
So let's start with that.
Yeah, I guess brings us on to our first point, is that it does peel off sometimes. I think like all the flat, big panels are absolutely great.
Bonnet, door, wings, perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
Even the door handles they're done well with.
Yeah,
yep.
Door handles look really nice.
They've done very well.
Because they are quite small and complex, and
they look like an awkward thing to wrap, but they've done them well.
Yeah.
And I should say as well, because it was done again after the crash, there's 2 different places that have wrapped it now. So these sort of experiences that I'm talking about are not going to just be, maybe you got a guy who didn't know what he was doing, or maybe you got a good guy or whatever. 2 different places, so hopefully it gives a fairly decent indication of what a wrap is like in general. So I guess, first of all, well, we're past that point, but second or third of all, price. Let's just talk about that quickly. It was about 1,500 quid for the whole car to be done, and then to get the front bumper, the bonnet, the driver's side door, and the spoiler done, that was, I think, 600 quid after the crash. So that gives you a rough idea of prices. Obviously it'll vary depending on where you take it, but so it's a lot cheaper than paint.
Yeah.
Getting a car fully resprayed, I mean, I had a couple of quotes for about $3,000 to do a full respray. You reckon it'd be a lot more than that to like do a full respray?
Like back to bare metal, engine out, inside. Like you're looking at 10 grand if not more. Yeah, to do it 100%. So like the next owner to look around it would think it was originally blue.
Yeah, I mean you're talking like the full inside of the engine bay, the chassis and everything. Yeah, I mean, like you said, this has been on for 8 months now, and there are bits peeling off. There are like air bubbles forming in bits. There are some bits that are just like the curves are or the angles changes are too tight for vinyl to properly stick to.
Yeah.
Especially on the front bumper. And it didn't help that the front bumper now is wrapped just straight onto the bare plastic of the bumper rather than onto paint, which is what it's designed to be, is onto paint. But this now, after the crash, I didn't bother getting the bumper repainted just to then put vinyl over it, so it's now just stuck on the plastic, which the guy did say it might not stick that well, and I think he's kind of right, because there are a few bits, and we'll show you a couple of clips now, there are a few bits around the headlight that have bubbled up already, which we tried to slice, didn't we?
We did a bad job.
We made it way worse. We made it way worse in our usual standards, so there's like 2 slice marks where we tried to sort of pop this air bubble.
To be fair though, I didn't have my knife.
No,
so
I think we did it with like a fingernail or scissors or something. Yeah,
it wasn't. But
on a good job.
Don't do it yourself, people.
So overall, big panels, bonnet, doors, and stuff are perfect. They look great. There's no sort of bubbles or lines or anything.
No.
They're great, and they wrap around like the edges of the bonnet and the boot lid and stuff. So yeah, when you lift them up, when you lift the boot up or the bonnet up, you can see where it's lipped over. But just from the exterior, without opening things up, it looks great. It looks as good as paint. And to be fair, getting like a matte satin paint job would probably be quite expensive. So
yeah, that'd be a pain as well.
So yeah, like you can obviously with a wrap you can do pretty much whatever you want. So that's one benefit. I think the guy who did the latest iteration of the wrap, he summed it up well by just saying, if you're expecting it to be as good as paint, you're going to be disappointed. And I think that sums it up well. And that might sound obvious to a lot of people, but me personally, before I'd actually had this car wrapped myself, and just seeing other people's wrapped cars on Instagram and driving past or whatever, I expected it to be as good as paint. And I think that was a bit naive, but because in pictures, videos,
it looks perfect.
It looks as good as paint, because no one's going to take a picture of the little bit that's starting to flake, pull up around the spoiler.
No.
You take pictures from the flattering angles, obviously, and it looks great. So yeah, I think from that aspect, seeing other people's cars and seeing them on Instagram and stuff, it always looks good.
Yeah.
But when it's your own car and you're washing it and getting up close,
the details you start noticing.
All the little bits, you then start to say, actually, it's not perfect. And again, I don't think that's down to the people who've done it. I know somebody will be like, oh, take it to Yanamize or whatever, and they'll do a perfect job. I'm sure they'll do a good job, but I still think there's inherent limitations of vinyl that you can't really overcome.
Yeah. It seems vinyl's okay if it's curving in two directions.
Yeah.
So when you add a third direction to that,
or if it's a really sharp angle.
Yeah, then it kind of struggles, and
just because it's glue at the end of the day, it's got to stick to something. If there's a really sharp angle and it's a really tight stretch, it's going to start to pull the glue up eventually.
And especially with wrapping cars, to try and do it in as bigger sheets as possible to avoid as many joints. Which now on the front bumper, the new guy added a couple of joints to say, look, this should help with a thing. So the front section between the two.
Yeah, where it's black now.
Yeah, the black bit.
Yeah, the black bit. Yeah, you're like, what can I use to identify that section?
Yeah. The bit that isn't
the
blue.
bit is a completely different colour. That's part of the reason why that bit is there, because he said they're going to have to do it in two separate bits to make it so it doesn't just start to peel up, which is what was happening before. I don't know if we ever showed any video of that, but with the original wrap, round the bit where it curves near where the bit that's black now is, that was starting to peel up and get bubbles and stuff, wasn't it? So they said straight away, we'll do that in two separate bits, and if you want, we can do it in a different colour so that the join mark doesn't sort of stand out then, because you've actually got a reason for there to be a mark there. And I think it looks quite good anyway, the black bit, so
I do.
Kind of worked out pretty well. But it's going to rain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thinking. Trash can drop back on.
Well, at least the paint's protected, and that brings on to our next point.
Yeah, paint protection is, I think, a bit of a myth with vinyl. I think people just hear vinyl and assume it's going to protect the paint. I think there's two main different types, isn't there? There's much thicker stuff. I mean, you know more about this than I do.
Yeah, so basically, we've got some practical demonstrations.
We've got practical demonstration.
So this is the standard, this is black standard vinyl, which is 20 microns thinner than what's on the car, but for this, it'll be fine. That's about 100, this is about 80.
Right.
And this is 240 micron clear film, clear protective, paint shield.
So that's actually intended to stop stone chips and things.
Stone chips, yeah.
Whereas
so
this stuff isn't.
Regular vinyl, someone walks past it with a jacket, it'll protect it, scuffs, it'll protect your paint underneath. The wrap will take the hit.
Yeah, the wrap still ends up with scratches on it, yeah.
But it will take, that's when you peel it off, paint's fine. But in terms of stone chips, as you found out before you had the bumper done, this stuff isn't quite up to the job.
No, you either get the stone chip takes off the vinyl, and then you've just got a blob of the original colour underneath, which looks kind of dumb. Because then,
so obviously you just had quite a lot of orange.
I just had loads of little orange dots all over the front bumper, which looks kind of shit. But then that has protected the original paint there, so that's just very light stone chips. Or it just goes straight through and you still get a stone chip.
Which I'll show you the difference in the vinyl.
Is it actually noticeable?
So this is the regular vinyl, which if I just try and pull it, breaks quite easily. Not a lot of effort.
Not very strong, no.
So where the clear film,
don't break this one. Don't ruin your demonstration by just going just snapping.
It'll break, but
that's a lot more. Yeah. It's a
lot tougher.
Yeah.
And that's the difference when it comes to stone chip protection.
It was a good demonstration. I like that.
Good demonstration. Yeah. So that just highlights the limitations from that point of view. If you want to, say you got a car, you own it for a couple of years, wrap it a different funky colour. When you come to sell it, peel it off. For the most part, most of the scratches, and especially in terms of washing, if you wash it badly, it won't be swirled and stuff.
Well, you end up swirling the vinyl.
Yeah, but in terms of taking it off, as soon as you sell the car, paintwork underneath will be pretty much 99% there.
Bob on.
Not bob. Where if you want to protect against stone chips as well as that, clear film's the only way.
Yeah, you need clear film.
The full clear film.
So, I think, to summarise, it's it has its pros and cons, basically. Like, it's not perfect. It's not as good as paint. And like the guy told me, if you're expecting it to be as good as paint, you're going to be disappointed. And I guess that's why I do feel kind of disappointed, I guess, because a couple of months, probably 3 months into having this wrap, there's like bits starting to peel off and stuff. And I'm like, it's kind of just puts a down on it, because what do you do? Just keep getting it re-wrapped, and it's costing like
you have to get it re-wrapped a couple of times before it then is getting into...
Yeah, if you have to do the whole car twice, then you may as well have just got paint in the first place. Yeah, I think that's the kind of takeaway point, is it's not as good as paint, it has its limitations, but if, like you say, you just want to make it a standout colour, or... pheasant. If you just want to make it a crazy colour, or you know that there's going to be limitations, and you're fine with that, and then you're going to change it every 6 months or every year or whatever, then it's fine.
Yeah, if you understand that it's relatively short term, and you just want to put it on a car for a year or two and then take it off, fine, whatever, like, it's perfect for that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And like you say, if you don't want to risk just having it painted and then missing some bits, and then the next owner is kind of like, well, why is this bit a different colour?
Yeah.
With vinyl, you can obviously just take it off and everything's back to exactly as it was before.
Done.
So it's good if you're bothered about the resale value. I mean, like we said, with this car, we've already killed the resale value by doing all the modifications to it. So that
the
wasn't really a thought.
The only other alternative is sort of Plastidip, which is gaining in popularity.
Yeah.
Which it kind of mixes the best of both, in that it's a non-permanent colour change, and it can be removed.
Yeah.
Which I think that will probably gain in popularity, but the problem with it is it's hella time consuming.
Is it really?
Like, more time consuming than wrapping is, because of the prep that has to go into masking everything off, the overspray. I've seen some jobs done where, obviously, when they're spraying the doors, in between the door shut, you get overspray in there, and that would bug me, because removing that out, you got to take doors and wings off just to remove it.
I mean, it sounds much more like just painting, doesn't it? A full respray.
Yeah, so it becomes, it's not, if there was a way of doing it to make it cheaper than vinyl, it would be great. But the on and off procedure is a lot more intensive than vinyl. So it's a good solution. It fixes a lot of the issues of it peeling off, but it's just not quite right.
Not
quite perfect.
There's no perfect thing, that's the thing. You're always going to have to compromise on something. Like, if you want the absolute best perfect job, you're going to have to pay a lot of money and get it completely re-sprayed. But that's the only way you're ever going to get the absolute best results. And then clear film over the top of it to protect from stone chips. So you're going to be spending a fortune if you really want a great looking car. But that's the price you pay. So
I hope it's been, I really wanted to sort of maybe slightly helpful to people who are considering it.
Just give, like I say, a realistic experience, because I'm sure a lot of people will just be like I was before I got this car. It was just, you see pictures and stuff online, it looks absolutely perfect.
It's got my car wrapped, look at it, it looks great. Yeah,
like,
it does.
You don't appreciate that there's actually bits that aren't perfect, but you just don't really see them until you get up close. I mean, we've highlighted, you'll see in the clips, like the overlaid footage, we've highlighted the absolute worst bits there.
Yeah.
And they're bits that have been peeling off or whatever for a while. So, I mean, this car does get a lot of abuse. It's been to drift days and stuff. It gets hammered around.
Lives outside, so that kind of like the weathered effect is in sort of decreases things, I guess, a little bit.
I think it does get abused more than some people's cars who would wrap them.
Yeah.
But even
that's also a good test of the wrap. It's not garaged. It's not it's not kind of looked after in that way. So it's if you're realistic for most people. Yeah,
that's one point actually. Is do you have to do anything differently, like in terms of just living with it, washing it, and things like that? I mean, the one thing you told me was just make sure you clean off any like bird shit or anything like that. Clean that off straight away.
That'll start to ruin it.
Because that'll ruin it pretty quickly. Obviously, because this has got like a matte finish, then I'm not going to use like wax and stuff. And
a lot of products, quick detailers, waxes, even like wash and wax shampoos have shining agents in them.
Yeah.
Which obviously makes regular car paint look great. But on matte wraps,
you don't want it to look
it'll start to turn it kind of satin and like semi-glossy.
Yeah.
So if you want it matte, there is specific matte products that I recommend definitely looking into.
Which I've not used on this. I've just made sure I don't use stuff that's got like wax and shining stuff in it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the wrap, is you can literally just wash it. Just wash it down.
Yeah.
And if
I don't do anything differently to what I used to, basically, other than just not using something that's got like wax built into it. But again, that's only because it's matte. If you got a glossy vinyl wrap, you just carry on washing it the same as you always have.
Fine.
There's no real difference there.
And even then, you're protecting the paint underneath from. I mean, you can wash it with a sponge if you really want.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shout at you for that, but.
Well, you did. You did shout at me for washing this with a sponge once.
Well, no, you just didn't rinse it first.
Oh yeah, that was it.
It just went in.
It was really filthy as well, wasn't it? So there's like just like swirl marks. In fact, I think that door that got replaced, so it's fine. It's fine.
There was a couple like scratches with a bit of grit in the.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of situation as paint.
Yeah, you've got to be careful if you want to stop it getting swirled and having marks.
If you want it to look nice, you've got to take care of your wrap near enough as much as regular.
Yeah,
paint.
pretty much the same. That's the thing. Quite a few people have asked me, what do you have to do differently with a wrap? Pretty much nothing. Like when you're washing it.
Too much. Yeah. If you want it to stay nice, then do pretty much the same. The good stuff, 2-bucket method, sheepskin wash mitt.
Which leads us on to another video that we might be doing.
Yes.
Of like detailing stuff.
Coming soon, how to detail.
Basics of detailing.
With Bald Yoda. I'm going to teach Bald Yoda how to detail because he's the least likely detailer out there. So we're going to see if he's
still there with a hammer. Like, which bit do I hit?
How do you polish with an hammer?
I want to see that.
So we're going to do that.
We're going to try to do that, next weekend, I think. Yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this one.
Cool.
Well, I can't make rust jokes now because we've just found that there's quite a lot of mould in this car.
Yeah, so that's the video coming up.
Yeah.
There's a bit of an issue going on with some water.
There's some water everywhere, basically. And it's not because of the crash. This was happening before then, but it seems to be getting worse. So, yeah, we'll maybe do a separate video on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, we'll see you then.
Cool.
Bye.